Oh, 1 second. I'm just going to put my gas and electricity bill things through. 1 second. I'll do that before I forget. After that, I should be ready. Although I do have to find my bottle of water, which could be anywhere. Well, it can't be anywhere, but... I'm just going to go and find my water. Here, water, water. Right. I found water. But it's really good at picking me up across the road. Ooh. These away. Bam. Hello. Hi. What do we need to do here? We're gonna reduce the sounds slightly. Boop. Oh no, let's make them more. You might hear some music in the background, hopefully at some point. Bam. So for that nicely running in the background. Please tell me if it's too loud at any point during the stream. Let me make my face appear. I'll wait a minute. Oh. Wait, well, oh. Magic. Nothing wrong. Hello. How's everyone doing? Hope you're well. It is October the 11th. And we've just had CitizenCon. So there's going to be a lot of CitizenCon centric stuff that we'll talk about today. And feel free to ask any sort of questions you want throughout the live stream. Hello, welcome. I have found my water. Should be a little bit of background sound, little tiny. Okay, we'll put it up a little bit. There you go. Hopefully, it won't get too loud throughout. Please do not refer to the STV as Steve. That joke got old quickly. I wouldn't have even done that, to be honest. It's the sports terrain vehicle. So if anything, it would be called Steve. It wouldn't be called Steve. That'd be stupid. And what did you like the most from CitizenCon? So, it was a bit weird, CitizenCon this year. I'll tell you why. Because me and Zin watched it sort of together while we were writing notes and scripts and talking about it. And we got to what we thought was the end of CitizenCon with all the panels and the presentations. And then Chris Roberts appeared and talked for 2.5 hours. And we were at one point we were like, is he still talking? Oh my god. They really got him out of storage and they really got their money's worth from him. So it's a bit of a weird one. Really good CitizenCon with some of the features. Obviously some monumental changes to ship combat and travel mode versus combat mode, basically, is what it is. It's QCM, quantum control mode, versus SCM, standard control mode, and they are now hugely different. If you're moving fast in the verse, either like cruising in like very high above SCM speeds, you're quantum boosting or quantum jumping, you ain't got any shields on. Basically, what's going on? You ain't got no shields, you ain't got any weapons that you'll be using. But if you want to go into sort of combat mode and do your basic stuff and have a bit of a scan and look around properly, maybe do mining or whatever, you'll be in SCM, you'll be in standard control mode. So this will mean, for the most part, that ships, when they're fighting at these shorter distances. They're moving slower because they're at the SCM speeds rather than these super fast sort of quantum and cruising speeds. So, not that combat was really done at quantum before, but you know what I mean. The quantum control mode is also cruise. It's cruise control as well. So I think it's an interesting one. Obviously, there was the panel on the power relays and resource management system. That's incredibly important because it does allow eventually for things like bases, for things like capital ships, physical components, boarding, damage control, engineering. There's a huge amount of stuff is based on this resource system. So it's basically circuitry of a ship and the resources of fuel moving to becoming energy and then moving to the appropriate components. There's like a circuitry there that can then be disrupted and damaged, and there's relays, and it allows you to do like have people running around repairing things and doing things with components, but it also allows for resources to be moved around the ship with life support systems, so oxygen being cleaned and all that sort of jazz. So really excited for that. I have seen some donations come in. Thank you very much, Nate the Great. Thanks for answering my question, answering my comments. Oh, no worries, mate. You don't need to pay me money to for me to answer your questions. I will come to them eventually. If you do chuck a comment up with a donation or whatever, I will try and read it immediately or as quickly as possible. I'll give it priority because, you know, I quite like money and I appreciate you sending me stuff. I did see another message a minute ago while I was getting ready. Father Russell, bored. When are you going to do a community event in Star Citizen? So I am going to be doing 2 major things at some point in the not too distant future. I want to run a big Bar Citizen up in Manchester because they've got they're moving into their new studio there and all that sort of jazz. I want to go there, have some drinks with devs and the community, and have a nice day of sort of like chilling out, playing some games, drinking at a bar and socializing, and maybe getting some cool development information as well. Awesome. We're doing that at some point. I wanted to do one this year. There were a load of problems with the dates I wanted, and I wanted to go to the one that CIG did. They did a big Bar Citizen and sort of like had a load around the world at the same time. But getting to Manchester again at that date, the hotels were like £400 a night or something because there was like a load of concerts on and all that sort of jazz. You may notice I look particularly shattered with pretty bad bags on my eyes. That's because I've not been sleeping very well and I've been very busy with CitizenCon. So hopefully I'll revive at some point in the not too distant future. I didn't realise just how rough I looked. Yes. So the other thing I'll be doing is I want to be doing events in game when it'll probably be into the new year now or at the end of the year. So I'm going to get Zin to start organising them because I pay her. I go, Zin, you organise some community events. So every couple of weeks, I'd like to do something with anyone that's up for doing it in game. It might be filming for a video, it might be a bit of a organised battle or whatever. We typically be for content of some description, even if it's just sort of our B-roll footage, and general socialisation stuff. Might as well socialise with people that have come to support me, and I genuinely appreciate all the support from all the viewers that have watched me for whether it's been a day or whether it's been 7+ years now. Oh my god, I'm so sorry that I've made you watch all my Star Citizen content for several years. Linus Tech Tips, RTX and a 1490 reviews out. I have not seen it yet. I suspect it's pretty powerful, but a bit too expensive. Now, is that a fair summary of it? What else have we got? We need Vulkan implemented. Yes, so it looks like 3.18 will have a lot of the Gen 12 renderer stuff, and then 3.19 or 4.0 is going to have Vulkan integration. That's what it looks like to me. Didn't talk about anything Vulkan E or Gen 12E at CitizenCon. That's not a bad sign or anything, because it does look like it's going to be in 3.18. It's probably they'll start talking more about that when 3.18's more ready to go live. And Cloud Imperium still want that to go live by mid-November 3.18, though hasn't started its Evocadi phase properly yet, so... We will have a look at the Crusader Spirit in a minute, because we'll look it up on stream and talk about it. So there was some... We'll do it now. We'll do it now. I'll go through these questions in a bit. But one of them was about the Spirit, so we'll actually have a look at it. The Crusader Spirit is a series of concept ships that were announced at the ship panel at CitizenCon 2022, and they are available from $100. So the C1 Spirit at the moment, Warbond, is $100, and I think the A1, which is the most expensive, is it 155? Question mark. 186 minus VAT. I think that's 155. That works out as VAT calculator. No, that's not all I want at all. It's on minus 20%. Beep, beep, beep. Remove VAT. $155. So these are pretty cool for little lifetime insurance tokens, although there is a better option. And I really like them. They're 2-seater ships. Oh! By the Genjamin. Thanks very much. I'm the worst at saying anyone's name, just so you know. And thank you very much for the resub. Very much appreciated. So these are 2-seater sort of ships. They're sort of competing size-wise with the Cutlass and the Freelancer. I really like the look of them. Is it going to be better than... Is the C1 Spirit going to be better than a Cutlass Black? I think it might be. I think it might be. It's the size 3 tracked beam. It's got with pretty good weaponry, some good amount of cargo. It looks the part. I really like the way it looks. 2 crew as well is good. So if you want 3 crew, maybe Cutlass Black. 2 crew. T1. So we don't have any indication of when it's going to be ready. It's quite possible they'll take it all the way from concept into flyable, but it will take a while. We're doing a deeper dive into them, a ship buyer's guide, once we have the Q&A, because there were some problems with the stats and specs of the ship being inconsistent across the main web page, the brochure, and the ship matrix, which obviously is not great. Got that rear mounted tractor beam there, a load of forward facing weaponry. I don't believe it has a turret. I think the other ones have rear turrets. Actually, let's go to the C1 Spirit again. I think if we can look at the clicky boy. Yeah, it's got the tractor beam at the back. Got the big old access ramp at the back for the cargo bay 48 SCU. Twin size 3 cannons take on danger in the front. You've got missile rack. I think it's got nose weapons as well. Twin gimbal size 2 weapons on the nose. It looks like a Crusader ship. It's one of the points. Okay. And I think the A1 and E1 have both got rear turrets instead of the tractor beam. Yeah, so size 2 remote turret provides defense on bomb runs and patrols. So the A1 is a bomber. It's gravity bombs. It's got 10 size 5 bombs, sort of mini Hercules A2. I think I prefer it as a bomber. It's much more of a traditional one. So that's pretty exciting for me, at least. Has it got any other size 3 wing guns? It's got the missiles. It's got the 4 size 2, size 3 missiles? Question mark. The nose guns, pew pew pew. I believe the Spirit has a smaller caliber of weapons, but the Spirit is an interesting one. The E1. Why am I saying the Spirit? The A1 Spirit, the C1 Spirit, and the E1 Spirit. They're all called the Spirit still. So the E1, it's the sort of VIP transport one. It's the Genesis Starliner, but at a much smaller scale. And it looks like they may be building the gameplay for the E1 first, before then moving on to the Genesis Starliner. So it's got sort of smaller caliber of weapons typically around it, I believe. That looks pretty similar. The missile still, we'll have to double check its specs when they release the Q&A. It's got this sort of central cabin, this one, for your guests. Great views. Hopefully not of them being shot. I just really like the idea of the that for a passenger carrier as well. Just in general, like you moving your augmates around and stuff. I think it's a really cool little series of ships. So the loaners for the ships are all different. So let me bring up the loaner matrix. Loaner matrix, Star Citizen, Spirit. So, boop. So here we've got the for the Spirit A1, it's the Freelancer Miss as your loaner ship. For the C1, it's the Cutlass Black, and for the E1, it's the Cutlass Steel. An odd choice, but I suppose it's more passengery carry. Right. Thank you very much. XS 8067 very much. Is the A1 light, medium, or heavy? So, it's sort of Cutlass size. So it's sort of, if you had to put a fighter size on it, it would be heavy. Yeah, I believe. It is 2-seater. I'd say it's a heavy. NX02 Columbia. Thank you very much for subbing. Very much appreciated. Start. So, it's going to be geared towards combat on the larger side of things. I would expect it to be geared on the sort of heavy fighter, if not larger, sort of track. It's yeah, it's certainly not a light or a medium fighter. What do you make of the spirits and naming conventions? I'm a little sad they didn't come up with a Roman god name and star something. I think spirit's a cool name for them. And then A1, C1, and E1. It's all good. I think a lot of people like the series as well, so that's a good thing for CIG, sort of knocking it out of the park with a good concept ship sale that isn't too far away from potentially being in game. They're not super complex as ships. They're not huge. Did you see the 9-minute leak? So I have seen the Squadron 42 leak. I would advise people not to watch it. It's low res, no sound, and not great. Like it shows off some cool stuff, but yeah, wait, they'll show it off in a lot better detail, and when it's closer to actually being sort of viewable, or what they want it to be viewable. So yeah, that's my opinion of it. Is the bomber classified as medium, heavy, or light? So, okay. Let me go on the ship matrix and have a quick look to see if they actually have any specifics of how they fit in. But I would expect them to be classified as heavy. Their size is medium, so they're not fighter sized. So they're sort of a category larger. So the sort of same size as a freelancer or Cutlass Black sort of thing. Yeah. Thank you very much. Good game, Steve. Thank you very much. Or good game, STV. Yeah, okay, fair enough. I won't do that joke. Does the C1 have living facilities, though? So, that is a good question. Typically, I wait until we see the Q&A to get sort of more confirmed stuff. So, let's have a look around, shall we? Got a nice big cargo hold. I'd expect it to have bunk beds and a little kitchenette. Sort of just behind the cockpit. That's what I'm expecting around here. There's not a confirmation of that, I don't think. You've got specs from the brochure, which again I'm waiting to have everything confirmed by CIG because they are not consistent. Yeah, so I don't know if it's got living facilities, but I would expect it to. I expect it to very much so. So I'll look at the A1, see if there's any indication. Yeah, I think so. I think behind the cockpit. There you go. Huh. Probably. When do you think the Spirit series will be in game? Q3 next year? Sort of thing, probably. What else have we got? Were you surprised we didn't see any Banu Merchantman content at CitizenCon? No, because I'm expecting it at the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo. Do the new ships only have one entry and exit? Good question. We know they have a rear cargo entrance exit. There's possible that it could be a ladder. There's possible there could be an elevator. And we don't know. I hope they won't do the same mistakes they've done with the Mercury Star Runner. They should have... Actually... Yeah, I'm expecting an elevator. Allow entry and exit into the ship. You don't... The Mercury Star Runner only had one entry exit at the moment, and they need to have an emergency exit or something else going on there. Board, I think CIG posted on Spectrum that they updated the specs. Great. I will do a full look at the ship once the Q&A's out. And I confirm that all of the statistics are accurate in all forms. Have you heard of the quality of life feature coming to 3.18 when you shift and click for moving items from one inventory to another? Yeah, so you're supposed to be able to easily boop, 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 switch them between and getting into your inventory, get them out of your inventory and move them between the windows. So I have heard of that. And I think it was on posted on Spectrum the other day. When do Q&As normally come out? Typically a week later. Robert Johnston! Oh my god. Thank you so much. He's just dropped me 100 New Zealand dollars, which is probably in parity with my own currency currently. Stats and skills in Star Citizen. Colour me stunned. Nearly as surprising as seeing BoredGamer has a post on some of his AMAs recently. What? Look, I'm bad at posting my AMAs up, okay? Though, I have been posting them relatively recently, Robert Johnston, I think. Haven't I? I'll make sure I post them all for you. So I'm pretty bad at posting my sort of streams up on the channel afterwards. I will do that. I'll try and endeavour to do it regularly. I'll put it as a literal bullet point on my things to do every day. Thank you so much for that donation. You are a legend, sir, and a long-time supporter of the channel. Robert Johnson, the first person to pay me literally to tell me to go feck myself. It is appreciated. So, okay, let's talk about that. Then I'll delve deep into the rest of the questions and stuff. So, sorry if I haven't come to your question yet. I will get to it in a bit. So, there are two more ways of character advancement in Star Citizen now that they've announced, and that's attributes and what was the other thing that they called? Not dynamics. Techniques. So there's attributes and techniques. Okay, so techniques, they are, I'm a new player, I'm going around stealthing. This is me stealthing. And I find someone. Yeah, I'm trying to break their neck. Oh, I don't know how to do it properly. And then, yeah, so that's me the first time I try and take someone down as a player. But after I play a while, and my character sort of gets more confident and has done this thing like 7 or 8 times, I just walk up behind someone and go, da, or just like snap them in two, like they're a twig. Okay, so that's techniques. So maybe that'll be for, you know, climbing as well, and some parkour stuff, and some other animations and some sort of hand-to-hand combat stuff. You'll like be able to learn other moves and things like that. Yeah. There's also now attributes. So you got strength, otherwise known as strength. So if you carry and lift stuff a lot, your strength will rise, and that will allow you to carry more and have like larger inventory on you, or be able to carry more weight. There's sort of like agility, which might allow you to turn on a dime more easily or switch weapons quicker. Boo, 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 boo. Stamina, which is going to allow you to survive environmental conditions better. Now, how big is the maximum level that you can get with these attributes? We don't know. What's the disparity between a new player compared to someone that has maxed out all those stats? What is it? Are they superhuman compared? Because that's not a world I want to live in. So that's I think that's an interesting one, right? It's obviously very different from what we had originally expected from Star Citizen, because they basically went, there's the only sort of advancement is reputation and your actual assets. So now that's changed, where there's potentially the potential for different sized bodies. I'm a bit tubby today. The cameras are wrong angle, and I've been getting fat. I have to sort that out. You're my favourite Star Citizen channel. Keep up the great work. Make sure to send part of this to Zen. You mean Zin? I have a friend called Zen. If we read that, I'd be like, they said in your comments to send me some of this money. I will send it to Zin. Keith, thank you very much. That is very much appreciated, sir. Father Russell, how much do we have to pay for a Zin face reveal? So Zin has appeared on a couple of videos early on when she joined my channel. She has appeared in a couple of videos on camera. We just haven't done it very much with the face cams. She does have a green screen. She does have the camera and everything. What we'll probably do is have it that we'll do more face work on some of the exclusive videos that will appear in the channel member stuff. So if you're a Patreon, if you're a BoredGamer YouTube channel member, you'll get to see stuff like that. Zin will appear at events and stuff like Bar Citizens and things every so often as well. I will wheel her out, but I'll occasionally she'll appear on camera on the live streams as well. It's just when we do camera work. I think she's not too adverse to it, but I mean it is, you know, slightly awkward for if you haven't done it regularly. Do you know what I mean? I go, yeah, look at me. Beautiful. Beautiful round boy. Robert Johnston again with the sub. Look, this idiot has subbed for 52 months. Must be the awesome mods. Thank you very much, Robert Johnston. You are a beautiful boy. You start 52 months is a long time, so I can't remember when I started. I probably started streaming about that time ago. That makes sense, right? Legend. What a beautiful boy. Also, Father Russell, you pay $200. I suspect she'll do a face reveal pretty quick. If I goes in, you can have that $200. Yeah. That was a joke. That is a joke. I've got to be relatively careful with my audience. I remember when one of my mods, Huntress, I made a joke we would wear Japanese schoolgirl outfits for her. If she paid us enough, she sent us $1,000. So we had to wear little, me and Zin's partner wore Japanese schoolgirl outfits to iSeries. That was a good iSeries. We looked fantastic. Right, what do we got? What do we got here? Thank you. Appreciate it. I appreciate all the kind words. Thank you so much. And we've got probably the CitizenCon summary coming out today. But yeah, there's a couple of other CitizenCon videos that I've got to get through. I think they're all finished. They're just waiting release. I don't like to release more than 2 videos a day. I think the Spirit series is actually relatively well priced. Like, it's not super expensive. It's sort of... Could it replace my Cutlass Black? I think it might. People become multiples of them. Monsters. Yeah, that Chris Roberts speech at the end. I say speech. That Chris Roberts sort of in-depth talk about what some of the stuff that's in Squadron 42 at the moment. That they're sort of polishing it out before it goes into the persistent universe. And was really interesting. Obviously, lots of AI improvements, which are sorely needed. Oh my god, where am I? I've lost all of the questions. I'm very sorry. How is someone supposed to escape now, as the only way seems to be by dropping your shields and being a sitting duck while they travel in travel mode changes? So that's not entirely how it's going to work, Rockstar. They Clan Imperium have talked about on Spectrum a little bit how it works more. So when you're changing into your sort of quantum mode, there's sort of a a spool time, and while that's what it currently looks like, while you're spooling up and changing over to the mode, your shield will spool down in a linear fashion, but it's not binary. It's not just on off. It's so you have part of your shield, and that shield power, as it were, is put in sort of storage. And if you switch back to the other mode, even if you're getting attacked, you'd go back to some of that shield health. Boop. So it's not just, oh no, I've decided to run, or I'm in quantum mode. I'm in SCM mode. I want to go into quantum mode. Oh god, I'm incredibly vulnerable. Although there are elements of that, because obviously you are powering down, and you're not going to be able to use your weapons as well. So, will you be able to use gravity to break the max speed in operating mode, driving towards a planet and leveling your ship at the last moment to have a temporary speed boost? Sounds cool. Sounds cool. Don't think they're going to be doing that for slingshotting and stuff. You will be able to use boost, though, to give yourself some additional speed beyond SCM. What patch number do you anticipate for IA? 3.18, but there could well be a 3.18.1 that comes out after it that has a lot of the 3.18 features that we expected in the initial release. When does the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo start? So I think it's typically around the sort of 20th of November-ish. So mid to late November. Wiley Type, thank you very much for the bits and cheer. I love the content, love the consistency. You've managed to stay reasonable and fair in a space where a lot of other content creators are unable to. You're the best man, and keep on doing what you're doing. Keep growing. Thank you very much, Wiley Type. Wiley Type gave me a fantastic interview a while back. It was really great to talk to him. It's one of my most popular videos I've done about previously working at CIG. And yeah, that was a fantastic interview. Thank you so much for your support, mate. That is genuinely very, very generous. And I appreciate the kind words. Like, okay, so I'm certainly hyped for Star Citizen. I'm excited, relatively sort of positive, bullish on Star Citizen content creator, yeah? And I want to keep on covering the game, and I want to cover it warts and all. I'll give you my take on it. I'll give you the what I understand from the news, and I'll talk about the different points of view. I might not always agree with them, with the different points of view I talk about, but I will at least represent them. I might talk sort of like a general leveled sense, or go, well, from the widest. I look at the big picture typically, and Star Citizen has got quite a long development cycle. It is slow. There's been delays. There have been problems. Yeah, but what Cloud Imperium's saying at the moment, how's that comparing to what's going on? And if I'm reporting the news, it's just I'm reporting with a bit more context typically, and sometimes a little bit my own opinion, what Cloud Imperium are doing. So, do you think we will get Squadron 42 footage next year? I think we're going to start to see them bring out some Squadron 42 shows towards the end of next year. That's my expectation there. Would I buy a 1490? Realistically, it doesn't make sense to. They're quite expensive. We could potentially do, because really, Zin needs the 1490 before me. Yeah, because she's the one that's going to be starting to capture a lot of the 4K footage. The 3080 that we've currently got is almost there, but it doesn't really get the footage that we need. Might get 4090s in the future. It's so expensive. I don't think I can justify it. I need rich sugar daddies. Talking about rich sugar daddies, Robert Johnston. Yes, you'd posted some MAs lately. That's what I was saying. No worries. And I'm glad that I've actually been posting up those videos like I thought I had. I appreciate it for you. I appreciate you sort of poking me to do it, Rob Johnston, because I sort of need to. It's sensible. It's extra content on the channel. People watch them, and obviously people appreciate them. Anyway, off to bed now. Keep the noise down. Good night. Thank you very much, Robert Johnston, mate. Thank you so much for your support. You are a beautiful boy. Genuinely awesome. Thank you. So do you think the Corsair will be available at the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo for discounted price? It will probably be the full release price. Probably. That's what I'd expect. Are you encoding an AV1 yet for YouTube? Or have you seen Intel Arc cards have AV1 hardware support? Jag, no, I hadn't been. I will look into that literally after this stream, though. That is a good shout. Me and Sin were talking about bit rates and getting better looking footage on YouTube and compression literally the other day. Were there no release dates announced? There are no release dates announced for pretty much anything for Star Citizen. It hates you for release dates. Is the Squadron 42 leak legit or just PR? That's a good question. I think it is just a minor leak. I don't think it's for PR or anything. It's very low res and it's obviously been shared in a poor manner. But it's nothing sort of groundbreaking, I think. I'd wait and see some of the stuff that Kyle and PM actually want to show us. I think that'll be a lot more exciting. It's not even that spoilery. It's just, an unintended leak. What else do we have here? Yeah, 1490s do require a lot of power. That's the other thing. It would be very expensive to run those bad boys, especially with the current sort of electricity prices. What else have we got here? Are there any informations about the Trident weapon system, laser beam weapons, still about to come into game or already done with them? So there is going to be point defense systems sort of controlled by AI blades that will be able to target missiles and things that are coming along. There was going to be beam weapons, and there was obviously going to be countermeasures. Cloud and PM haven't talked much about that for a while, so bear that in mind. Do you think the Cyclone will fit in the A1? I suspect some vehicles will fit in the A1. I don't have all of the data for that yet, unfortunately. I don't know. Drake Corsair, what's your personal opinion? Yay or nay? I think it's great. I have a Carrack already, and if I was going to go take out a smaller ship than Carrack, I'd probably take out my Mercury Star Runner because I love it. So it's cool, and I think it sort of does a cool multi-role, multi-crew sort of thing that obviously is more of a focus on exploration. But got a Carrack key. Yeah, I do think it's cool. I think it's very popular. Has 3.18 going to Evocard yet? Not as far as I'm aware. Time to kill for ships will be increasing. Yes, that's correct. Based on the ship speed rework and the resource management system and physical components. We will be getting an increase in time to kill for FPS combat. I think there'll be more of a range of injury and armors and weapon types for FPS, which will affect combat. But I think a lot of the time you'll be able to get knocked down, but you'll be able to effectively get up again. You ain't ever going to keep me down. So I'm expecting some forms of devices and armor suits that will automatically administer medical sort of treatments to you when you get knocked down. That sort of thing. Which of the spirits do you suggest? I think the C1's cool. The C1 would be replacing my Cutlass Black, probably. Does the crime stat get deleted after reset? Depends on the type of reset. If they are also wiping reputation, then yes. Typically, your crime stat will get deleted. Normally because that's sort of the more volatile data. How will free jump mode work? So you'll literally be able to point in a direction and then do a quantum boost in that direction. So that's different from some quantum traveling. So quantum boost is sort of up to 50,000 kilometers in a couple of seconds. So you'll be able to sort of blind jump in that way. In the future, I'm also expecting the ability to put your own waypoints on the star map and quantum travel to them as well. You'll be able to sort of send out pings, find things, go, oh, there's something over there, and sort of travel towards it. I don't know how you set the actual distance you want to travel with a quantum boost. Yeah, I was surprised they didn't show much in the way of cave updates in at CitizenCon, because we know that they've obviously made some progress there. What are your thoughts about comparing the Spirit to the 400i? Yeah, I mean, I don't think the 400i wasn't supposed to be a sort of people carrier, was it? It was sort of more for you and your crew, whereas the Spirit E1 is more of a, well, these are VIPs that we're transporting, sort of airliner. Will we ever be able to name our ground vehicles? I believe so. I believe you'll be able to put the names of ground vehicles on them as well, in the same way that we have that for some ships. Summer Yet in Jebed, you're beautiful boys. Thank you so much for being here, by the way. Fantastic mods. Do the Spirit ships have bunk beds or full cabins? I believe, from what I can see and what I'd expect, them to have bunk beds and a little kitchenette. Hello, Mr. Nordman. Do you think you could land the Corsair on or in the Drake Kraken? I think you could land it on, yes. Considering the Corsair getting a lift to the top exterior, shouldn't more ships be getting this as well to use for repair? Yeah, maybe. I see what you mean. Obviously, you could do lots of repairs just in space. I like the idea of ladder hatches allowing you to the exterior and going out the top of ships and stuff. I see what you mean, yeah. Or do you believe the Spirit line of ships will release in 3.18? Nope. They're in concept. It's going to be a while. It's going to be like 6 months to a year. Will there be missions that start as a dogfight in space, which will move to the surface of the planet and end maybe as first-person shooter? And yeah, 100%. There's going to be bounty hunting missions like that. There's going to be a load of missions which are modular in their nature and take you from one place to another, to another, to another. There's going to be lots of stuff like the Siege of Orison, which is much more combined arms gameplay. I can't say your name. Krystov Borachowski. That is the best I can do. I'm so sorry if that's terribly said. I'm wondering if EMP will work in QCM. Thoughts? So will you be able to produce an EMP in QCM? No, I don't believe so, because most of your other systems will be offline and your capacitors won't be working. So I don't believe you'll be able to EMP. EMPing someone that is in QCM will work, though, as far as I'm aware. Do you think the change to master modes will change the current success of light fighters? Yes, hugely. It will very much change the landscape of combat. But as more and more gameplay systems come online, that will change the meta as well. I do think that the very high-skilled people with light fighters 1v1 are going to do very well against other styles of fighter. With the upcoming initial stage of the cargo factor, do you think we could see any change to how the Argo raft works with the initial changes? They sort of suggested that when the raft first came out. They said it's gonna change a little bit. You're gonna have to put the big boxes on. And we do know that they want to physicalize cargo in 3.18 with the cargo refactor. We do know they want to start having cargo moving a bit more, and loading and unloading times and costs and all that sort of jazz will be coming eventually, if not in 3.18. So maybe is the answer for that. They did imply it. Is that still the plan? So when is CIG going to rename the game Space Pirates? And to hell with everyone else. Using shields for quantum travel gives an absurd advantage to pirates. Not really, they have to catch you. See you later. You're assuming that a pirate has engaged you before you want to go to quantum travel. Whereas if you see them from quite a while away, just go to quantum and F off, yeah? Boo. They can't catch you. If anything, it makes the sort of like, well, I don't want to be here, see you later sort of thing. And if they are quantum interdicting you, yeah, you're screwed. So I see the worry. I do see the worry from people of, look, am I just going to get annihilated by missiles? That sort of stuff. I don't think it's going to be as bad as you think. I think it's going to be more sort of definitive. Well, if you are fighting, you're fighting. Yeah. It's Zin. Z-I-N. Lowercase z as well. Zinya. Not only fans, it'll be only ships, for sure. So this is last year's CitizenCon demo that I showed, which is Pyro 3, and you can see some of the clouds which have improved significantly. Am I hiring anyone in the US? No, not at the moment. We're not really hiring. Zin's lucky to have been hired, to be honest. I say lucky, she's absolutely fantastic for the stuff that she's learning in the future. She's going to be awesome for making content and videos. Actually, we'll start seeing some of that with the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo this year in 3.18. We're planning to up our content somewhat and do a lot more gameplay, is the idea, anyway. Let's see if that actually happens. What else have we got? So if you're interdicted, you will be able to just speed up away and jump eventually, or missiles be a big issue in running away from an interdiction. So I think the idea is, obviously, it will prevent you from going into quantum mode or quantum boosting. It will get quantum jumping or quantum boosting. There may also be ways in the future of sort of interfering with people's ability to move between SCM and QCM. So we'll have to see how it plays out. Because I could give you my expectations, but that might be very different from how Cloud Imperium have got it with that. So when I go to QCM, I will be able to slowly increase speed and slowly lose shield. So what it sounded like was that when you're changing between QCM and SCM modes, there's a little time, there's a few seconds to spool it between the modes. During that spooling time, your sort of shield's going down, and then as soon as you're in quantum control mode, you're actually about to cruise really fast. Start to speed up then. Brandon Metchman, really looking forward to it. You should see more of it at the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo, as far as I'm aware. Have you noticed they don't release hangar-ready ships anymore? Just flight-ready. Yes, that was a change that they wanted to do, because having a hangar-ready ship meant that it worked previously because they sort of did them in 2 stages. They sort of got them to hangar-ready, then would work on other stuff, then go back to them. But now they'd like to take them through from concept all the way through the pipeline in one go. What do you think of passive skills? Well, we don't know. So with the attributes and the techniques, we do not know how much more effective they are. The techniques sounds cool. It's just sort of like more updates to your animations of doing certain things, and maybe they're fractionally quicker or whatever. Cool. Attributes, how much are they going to affect the amount you can carry, or the amount of health you have, maybe, or the sort of environments that you can survive. How long can you go out of food if you've got a really high stamina? How much further and quicker can you run if you've got really high fitness? Planning on doing 4K YouTube videos? Yes, I'm planning to get footage in 4K and do my videos in 4K. At least eventually. That's the dream. We could sort of do them at 1440p at the moment. How much more do you think the banner merchant is done, or is it finished? It's not finished. Promise you that. Some of its areas are probably in deep grey box. Some little bits probably towards final art. I think a lot of it's in somewhere in grey box. When's the expo start? We don't have an exact date. I think it's typically around the sort of 20th of November-ish. I do love Gamers Nexus. Gamers Nexus did a load of some Star Citizen content a while ago when he was very small. Sort of talked to Chris Roberts and stuff. Any news on the RSI Perseus? No new news on that ship. Might see a load of new ship news on the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo around that time. Hey BG, yeah, I'm tempted to keep the Cully Black, but may change to an ambulance version when the C1 drops. So I love the Cutlass Blue and the Cutlass Red. They're still going to stay true in my heart. But I'm probably going to replace my Cutlass Black with the C1 Spirit. Have you had the chance to use the new STV? I have not yet, but I will soon. So the STV is available from $35 and is literally a sports bigger version of the Grey Cat PTV. So bring that up on the screen a little bit. So it's a cool, great little racing buggy. It's also got some room for cargo. Cool little four-wheeler for 2 people. Pretty useful in the verse. I'm obviously Clan Imperium liking the ground gameplay and racing at the moment. It's cool listening to this. If you get it for the $35 with Warbond, it comes with lifetime insurance, so it's one of the best sort of lifetime insurance tokens, and that you could upgrade to a ship later. It's pretty awesome. Pretty cool little thing. I think a lot of people like it. A lot of people probably don't. I think it's cool. Now, so we got. Some people have said the addition of skills was already started to come on from years ago. Any idea what they said and they were referring to? Nope. Well, actually, Windlord, they had previously talked about NPCs having skills and stats to sort of drive their personality type and how good they are at certain things, like how good a gunner they are in a turret. But that wasn't relating to players at all. It was relating to NPCs that you could hire, and NPCs and how good they are in individual combat and sort of what they prefer to do and all that sort of jazz. I do read from multiple chats, both YouTube, Twitch, and all that sort of jazz. I had a nightmare 2 nights ago. Jared caught me smoking weed and fired me. Oh my god. They want to move that up to an A-class drug in my country, which I think it should be decriminalised, but regulated. What else have we got here? Only because if it was decriminalised, I would probably see if I should use it for my terrible anxiety. But I do also suffer from not just anxiety, but sort of being bipolar, so maybe it wouldn't be good for me. I'd do a lot more things if I was allowed to do them legally. Now, what else have we got? What vehicles do you think can fit into the A1? We don't know for sure. I believe they said it could fit small vehicles in. So I would expect probably cyclones and stuff to fit in them. But wait until we get the Q&A so they can confirm that. When do you think the Caterpillar is going to get its modules, salvage, repair, crew? We don't know exactly what modules it's going to get, but those are the sort of modules it would. Expect them to look at modularity next year. After they've got that resource system done, probably modularity is going to be the next thing. So physical components and modularity. What's your call for the large mining ship? Some medium/large mining ship. Somewhere between the Mole and Orion, which is actually, large is fair. I think it's going to be an RSI ship. I think I would have preferred it to be Argo, but RSI is fine. I mean, I don't really care what manufacturer it is. I think it'll be cool, whatever. And news on the ship spawning. Might be a feature which is enabled by the cargo refactor. So, as far as I'm aware, they can do it now quite easily. Cargo refactor and persistence probably helps with that. But it's more that they need to build a UI for it, or sort of tweak the UI for it. So I would expect it soon. I'm just going to keep on poking CIG about it until they make it. With the removal of no-fly zones above Lawville, so I don't think it's the removal of them. They're going to be very limited. So you're going to be able to at Lawville and other landing zones, you're going to be able to fly much closer to the ground and around the city. Will there ever be the possibility of any of the streets in cities? We should see more of the city expand out. I'm not exactly sure how they're going to connect the districts. It might be sort of underground and tunnels and things. Were you surprised that CIG didn't take advantage of the Squadron 42 leak? I think it's something they want to show later. I think some of that Squadron 42 leak was probably stuff they went, shall we show any of these clips at CitizenCon? And they decided not to but for the other ones instead. Do you think we will Burp and Fart in game? They might do emotes for them. Have you ever organised a ship meet or similar in Star Citizen, and will you be planning anything in the future? We've done some stuff before, we will be planning some stuff in the future, yes. I'm going to start to get Zin to organise things at least once a month, but probably every couple of weeks. And it'll probably be after 3.18/ next year, early next year. I appreciate all the kind words. With the upcoming initial stage of the cargo refactor, do you think that we could see any change in how the Argo raft... I talked about that earlier, Danny Price, and I said yes, that they implied that originally, that would happen with 3.18 and the cargo refactor, and maybe we'll have to move the larger cargo containers on and off it. Obviously, they are physicalizing cargo. So they did imply that, but that's not a confirmation. When do you think the Spirit will come out? 6 months to a year. Any word on if and when the turret on the Scorpius will be able to be used by the pilot? I think he will be able to lock that forward, but I'm not sure when. My previous Lordville question was about airdropping on the street. So jump out of a ship and jump down and parachute. Oh, I don't know. Potentially. I'm thinking that destruction of aircraft around that area, so if you ejected, obviously your ship would probably crash into the city, would probably be something that would be illegal. We'll have to see how Cloud Imperium want this stuff to work out. But the ability to fly close to the cities is something that's awesome, right? Something we all want. Any news on the Polaris resize? As far as I'm aware, it's only fractionally larger. Beyond that, I don't know. How's the house search going? So I've sort of slowed my house search because it looks like house prices will crash in the next, or come down somewhat in the next 6 months. So I'm still looking, but I'm sort of also going, well, I'll save a bit and get ready. Thanks for asking, though. It's very much appreciated. Any news or updates on NPC crew? So lots of updates in general to NPCs and AI. We know that Cloud Imperium are working on some aspects of the blades and sort of AI controlling turrets on your ships. Obviously, there's lots of work that's gone into NPC crew, or at least NPC behaviors, which will eventually lead to NPC crew, and we don't have any dates or anything, though, unfortunately. What do you think the most realistic time will be for power play / resource management system? I'm super excited for this feature. I expect to try... I'm thinking that they're going to want to try and get it in for sort of the latter half of next year. So Q3 next year would be my expectation. And once all the power and engineering mechanics come into play, do you think people will get grumpy when they can no longer solo their multi-crew ships to the extent they can now? I don't know. I think people are just going to be happier that they've got more gameplay to do. And you can solo them still. You'll just have to get an NPC crew or AI blades. Right? Or very advanced Roombas, maybe. Any idea how tractor beam on the Cutty will work? Or where it's placed? I always assumed, I don't know for sure where the Cutlass it actually is, I always assumed it was on the rear of the ship, so to help with cargo loading and unloading. Yeah, for the ramp there. And yeah, I suspect it will be used for grabbing and moving cargo. What else have we got? Any news on the Perseus? No new news on the Perseus, unfortunately. Do you think Chris will introduce his version of the Force into the Star Citizen? What, space magic? Hopefully no space magic. Because they're going, well, we don't want super advanced AI in-game, as in lore. So I don't think they will. But actually, space magic's fine. Do we know why the Tumble Rager's next one might be delayed? So, not particularly delayed. They're just not a priority at the moment. They do want to do a ground physics refactor, and then I would expect to see the Rangers and NX1 game. We need a jungle planet for the STV. I agree. We will have jungle planets in the future. The Spirit E1, will it come out before the Genesis Starliner? Yes, I believe it will. Will we get a loaner if you have a Genesis Starliner? I would expect it to be the loaner for the Genesis Starliner once the E1 comes out, yes. Right. I named my Mercury Starliner. Be sure to drink your Ovaltine. Nice. Was there any info about the Expo this year? So no info really about the Expo this year yet, other than they want to try and get 3.18 out before the Expo, so they want to get that sort of by mid-November. Typically, the Expo is around the 20th of November. You can expect to see some shippy stuff. So we're thinking we're going to see like the Banner Merchantman around that time in greater detail, and some like sort of ship updates in general. Obviously, there's a free fly. There'll be a load of ships/vehicles that are straight to flyable. Maybe another concept, things like that. Should be pretty cool. Do you think we'll be able to kidnap people and put them in a slaver pod? Yes, I believe we will. And take them to Layer 3 and feed them to a sandworm? Probably, actually. Jag? Probably. You probably will be able to live your best life. Do you have any news on the Apollo series? Unfortunately not. There's no new news. Maybe we'll see something at the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo. They have gone dark. When will Pyro be released? With 4.0. We know that. With 4.0. But we don't know when that's going to be. Probably middle of next year. That's when we're looking at for 4.0. Do you think the Banner Merchantman will come out before Pyro? No, Pyro first. The Banner Merchantmans can take a while for them to sort of refine and stuff, even when it's close to being ready. It's a big ship. That's at least in my opinion. Are you planning on going into crippling debt to buy a home that has experienced devastating inflation in the next year or two? So I'm hoping that I'll be able to get a good, cheap house because of other people's misfortune. In the next year or two. That's my plan. With the QCM, quantum control mode, and quantum boosting, do you think we will start seeing some interdictions working similar to that of Elite Dangerous? Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. So obviously, the quantum interdiction we've got at the moment prevents you from going into quantum travel. So assuming quantum boost and quantum traveling. But they talked also about the ability to... There'll be ways of interfering with the ability to switch between modes. Also, really, you want some sort of net, some sort of web of fire to actually slow players down. So maybe that will be a thing in the future as well. Incognito, or however you say your name, Ingo Cognito, will 3.18 bring working coffee machines? That is an odd question, but a fair one. They have not said that the drinks makers and the coffee machines work properly. However, with PES, they are more likely to be working fully. But you should have less in the way of 30Ks. Not during the testing phase, but when 3.18 is live, should be a lot less 30Ks. At least, that's my expectation. You think RSI made a mistake moving to the UK? The UK's been their largest office since the genesis of the project, as far as I'm aware. Since they had a true development studio. That's not true. So since they had a proper studio, they set up. Since they set up the UK studios, way back when, they became the largest studios for the project. That's a fairer way of saying that. And they've just made them more massive. They sort of focused everything now on the UK. And I think it's a good idea. There's a lot of incentives, tax-wise, for doing game development and stuff in the UK. I think it's a nice central point. I like it. Star Citizen is more popular in the US, but, I'm in the UK, so... Web of Fire sounds like Eve. I mean, it was a reference from Eve, so yeah. I mean, there's a lot of stuff in Eve that I go, you know what? Eve Online, they've come up with solutions to a lot of these things already. Were you surprised that CIG didn't take advantage of Squadron 42 leak and just release a 4K version of it publicly at the end of CitizenCon? Well, they don't want to do that because they want to release stuff when they want to release it. And there's going to be loads more leaks in the future. They stand by it and go, you know what? Meh. Incognito, do you think that it could be that getting coffee in game properly could end 30Ks? That's potential. That is the potential. It's 3.18 in Bugatti now, and not as far as I'm aware. Should be this week though. He says, being burnt again. Will the next star systems be released in quick succession after Pyro? Well, yes, because they couldn't be released slower. Yeah, it looks like they're working on Nyx at the same time, but obviously the Odin system as well. So we could have a big watch of star systems coming in the next couple of years. And then, obviously, they've got the tools and the assets to be able to build them out hugely quicker. Just magnitudes quicker. Did you think that orgs will get to the level of corporations in the other place, well, in Eve? So they need to limit the size of orgs in Star Citizen, in my opinion, like they do in Eve, for sure. Bam, have we got anything else? Will your house be on Hurston or Microtech? What if I want to live on Orison, eh? Probably Orison. But out of Hurston and Microtech, probably Hurston. Given... I like Hurston, even though it's a bit oppressive. Given that all the info Chris gave us about Squadron 42 was outside the framing of the road to 4.0, do you think we'll get any of the things he discussed by 4.0? I think a lot of the stuff that he discussed will be a part of the 4.0 branch, so the 4.x branch, and some of it will be in Star Citizen 4.0. Some of the sort of updated AI behaviors, some of the traversal and animation stuff, potentially the new Moby Glass. I don't know how far they are along with the new Moby Glass. Look to me like they could just tweak some stuff and implement it, but it's hard to tell, eh? I don't know, maybe it'd take a lot longer because it's probably just done for Squadron 42. It's hard to know with a lot of stuff. Have they removed multi-buy from food counters? Oh, I haven't checked. You should be able to have better buying experiences in 3.18 though. Do you think they'll start working on the Perseus when different ammunition types are finished? I don't think it's essential for the Perseus to get it out for its first release. Thoughts on the 9 minutes of leaked Squadron 42 footage? I don't know actually when it was leaked from. I mean, I know it was obviously seen recently, but it wasn't that spectacular or anything, and I'm sort of glad that Cloud Imperium sort of stuck by their guns and went, we're not gonna talk about this much or whatever. Cool, good on them. And they'll release Squadron 42 stuff when they want to. Right. I can hear my phone going off. So I'm going to dash off. I really enjoyed CitizenCon. You've got a few more CitizenCon videos that are going to be coming out from me this week. And me and Sid will probably do a podcast where we talk about our thoughts on it as well. So thank you very much for watching, and thank you very much for the huge amount of donations we received today. That's awesome. Incognito, Kustov, thank you. Robert Johnston, you're a beautiful boy. Anthropophagy Seafoot. I can't say your name. Mr. 64, thank you so much. Thanks for the Q&A. Thanks for your name. I can't see your name. It's terrible. Wiley Type, you're a beautiful boy. Father Russell, Keith B. Legends, thank you so much. XS 8067, Columbia. Good game, Steve. Badgy Gaming, Nate the Great. Thank you so much. I love you. I mean, that's easily buy my love for like $2, apparently. I'm just gonna find someone that is streaming, and we will throw you over to them. Anna is online, so give Anna some love. She is the voice of Rowena Dooley in the game, and the Microtech Doobie Boy. You know what I mean. The hologram. And she does other voices as well. She's a game voice person, and she plays Star Citizen. How good is that, eh? So give her some love. She's a cool dudette. Thank you so much for watching me today. We'll probably stream again later in the week on Nate the Great. Thank you so much. Oh, I've just seen your thing come up again. There you get some more love. Yeah, you're all beautiful people. Thanks so much for watching. Love you loads. And I'll see you again soon. Peace.